Hi everyone, I'm the real George Booth from Ontozoan.com. There used to be a television show in the 1960s called Art Linkletter's House Party, and Art Linkletter was fond of featuring a segment of his show called Kids Say the Darndest Things. So if you want, that can be the working title of this post. I want to tell you about something that happened with my son and me once on a Sunday. We were at an NFL game. We were season ticket holders of the Carolina Panthers, the home team. And we're sitting way up in the nosebleeds because that's what we could afford at the time. And my son is watching the game intently, and he looks up at me and says, "Dad, you should try out for the Panthers. They're not very good this year. I'm sure they could use your help." And I'm not a big guy, as you can see, and I told him, "Well, from way up here, son, when you look down at that field, those guys look kind of normal size, but I'm telling you, if I stood next to them, I would look like you standing next to me. They're a lot bigger than I am." He said, "Oh, I just don't think so." I said, "Yeah, son, there's more. These guys are extremely athletic, much more athletically talented than your dad." And he said, "Oh, Dad, no, I've seen you in the front yard. You got moves. You're really good." And I'm appreciating that, of course, but I said, "No, you just don't understand. The front yard is a whole different environment than the stadium down there. It's just not the same. And besides, son, your dad is really too old to play in that league. It's a young man's game." And he looked down at the program and he pointed to Morton Anderson, the kicker, who was a year or two older than I, and I guess still is. He said, "Well, Dad, Morton Anderson is playing and he's older than you." And I had to explain to him that Morton was a kicker and was probably born with one leg bigger than the other, and it's sort of a genetic anomaly that I was disqualified for because my legs were the same size and neither one was particularly good at kicking a ball through an upright or down the field. So, I thought I had taken care of this whole thing in that I was not big enough, not athletically talented enough, and not young enough to play in the NFL. And he thought for a minute and he said, "Dad, you're just being modest. I tell you, you take 2 aspirin and one of those Levitra, you'll be good to go." Now I have to pause here for a moment. While the guys in front of me are heaving, their shoulders are shaking, they can't turn around and look. I have to turn my face away because I am about to burst out laughing. But I don't want to do this because my son is being quite sincere and I don't want to crush him. So I'm sitting there thinking while I'm trying not to laugh, and I'm going, "Now wait a minute, where's he getting this Levitra thing?" At the time, and again, this is quite a number of years ago, over 10, the drug was new and they hired the Hall of Fame NFL coach Mike Ditka to be a spokesman for the drug. So he was saying, "Get back in the game." So at one level, because these ads were only seen by us when we were watching NFL football, get back in the game. So this must have something to do with these older guys playing football. And of course they had another ad where a man was out in the front yard trying to throw a football through a tire hanging from a tree limb. And it wasn't going all that well for him, but apparently he popped a Levitra, and after that he was throwing strikes, man. He was throwing these bullseyes right through that tire. In fact, he got so good, he was able to go inside arm in arm with Mom and take a nap. So now I've got a window into the 8-year-old son's mind. And I'm thinking, "Oh, okay, I get it now." So I regain my composure and I turn to him and I say, "Son, I have to tell you that I appreciate that very helpful suggestion, but the NFL has a very strict anti-drug policy, and if I were to take 2 aspirin and a Levitra, I would not be welcome in any locker room in the league. So I will only offer that for your amusement and your entertainment. I have cleared it with my son. He doesn't mind my telling you this. We both have a good laugh about it now. But oh my goodness, you just can't predict what your son will say to you. But I mean, I have to say that every dad is, if he hasn't screwed it up, is the idol of his son, and you don't want to encourage him to idolize you, but you also don't want to crush him. So do take care with the hearts of those young ones that God puts in your life. And I'm George Booth from Ontozoan.com, and we'll talk again soon. I'd love to hear from you. If you have any ideas or suggestions for future topics that you'd like me to address, I'm more than willing to entertain them. You can leave a comment below. You can send me an email, or you can DM me through social media. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter And again, would love to hear from you.